Historic day for Westmont. I want to just welcome everyone who has joined us on the virtual event. This is Westmont's first Mother's Day special. And this is one of those ideas that came out of creativity, responding to COVID and being so restricted in the way that we engage with everyone. And we thought, why have we not done this sooner?
Yeah.
My name's Irene Neller. I'm Vice President here at Westmont. Get the joy and the privilege of overseeing enrollment, marketing, and communications. And I'm a mom, and I'm a Westmont mom, a mother of an alum who's going to be joining us shortly. But this is a great opportunity, and I'm just so excited to host and be hostess and know that we're going to do this every year now. We've had such a great response to it, and we're excited. So we hope in the next 45 minutes, we don't want to take too much time. We know that a lot of you moms probably are getting ready with your own families at home for the weekend, and we're just thrilled that you took some time this morning to spend it with us. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce the guests, our panelists that are with us here, who also have been so generous with giving us their time. And like I said, this is going to be a Q&A and just a good story sharing time. Sound good?
Sounds great.
All righty. Well, first, let me introduce Matt Pace. He is our senior admissions counselor, a recent graduate, and he's got his mother, Jenny, as well. Jenny, yeah, there you go. And Matt also introduced who's sitting next to you, because Jenny actually has two that are joining her on this virtual experience. So Matt, introduce who you're sitting next to.
I'm sitting next to Rachel Pace. She is a current student at Westmont, and yeah, she's really great. So she's joined the call too.
Awesome. So thanks, Jenny, for having two graduates that are one current student and a graduate. You can give us great perspective. All right, we have Addie Oswald, who is a current student as well. And Addie, just a little tip here, is on the cover of the last issue of the Westmont magazine. And Addie, introduce your lovely mother.
This is my mom, Tori.
Hi, guys.
She's my mom.
And they're joining us from Colorado.
Yes. We're the out-of-staters.
That's awesome. Thank you, Tori, for joining us. Thank you. And we have Esther. And Esther, too, is also on the cover of the magazine. It didn't turn out, we didn't go about planning it this way, but and Esther is also a current student, just wonderful to just journey with her. I get to see her often, and Addie as well. And moms, you've done a great job with these daughters. They're fantastic. I'm jealous. I have boys, and I'm going to adopt these girls. But Esther, tell us who gets to, who's joining you, and give us a little bit about your mom there.
This is my mom, Kathy. I don't know what to say. My mom.
Hi, Kathy.
Hello. Sometimes we get mistaken for sisters. I don't see it, but I mean.
Yeah. I see it too with Addie and Tori. So
I wish twins. I wish. Twins, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know what? I'm going to ask one quick question, and so you could be thinking about this answer to this question while I'm going to let you know about my son. So here's a question, and then I'm going to come back to it. Okay? But I want to hear from Kathy and from Tori. You just got your daughters home from college, right? They literally just got home about a week ago, maybe a few days. So I want to hear from each of you, what was that like going through this COVID separation and then having them home? And the second part to that question will be, what notable change have you seen in them in just the last year of their development and experience now as sophomores who are going to be juniors? Okay, so while you're thinking of that question,
okay,
let me just say, so my son Mitchell will be joining us. He is a full-time medical assistant aide for a very prestigious and lovely, wonderful clinic here. It's a orthopedic surgery clinic here in Santa Barbara. So he's got a surgery coming up that he's helping with in a little bit. So he's like, Mom, I can only give you 15 minutes. And I said, I'll take it. So I saw that he just joined. And there he is. Hey, Mitchell. Thank you.
Hi.
The 2019 graduate there at the office. I told him, you know what, he can join us with his mask on and have his others say hi. But he has got this position right after college, studied kinesiology, and we're just really, really delighted that he chose Westmont, graduated from Westmont, and I will share with you the moments that we have. What pages I saw him. Before I joined Westmont, I followed my smart son to college. Actually was here before I came in this position. And we'll share a little bit of our story before he has to leave and go help his patients. But let's go back to Kathy and to Tori. And which one wants to start? Tori, you want to start? And
Sure. I'm not known to be quiet, that's for sure. It's true. Actually, Westmont, during the time of COVID, everybody was very nervous and people ran home. I actually felt safer with her there. Westmont has always provided like a bubble in a good way, not a keeping them away from everything bubble, but a protective bubble, and one that she felt loved and safe. And because she felt that, we felt that. So we were thrilled that she was where she was and she was thriving and she was still working. And so that I love that I had that peace. I had so many people going, how come she's not home? And like, she's very safe. She's safe at Westmont. And I had that peace about it. Not one of us worried about it, not once. We knew if something did happen, she would be well taken care of just as much there as she would be here. Then when she comes home, all she wants to do is go back anyway. So, but I just watched her grow. I've watched her gain confidence in the gifts that she's always had, but she didn't realize she had, and working in admissions and becoming more of herself. And she's sarcastic, Matt, this, and Irene. But a lot of people don't know that about her because she's usually very quiet, but I've just watched her soar. And Westmont has provided that safe environment for her to just soar. So I'm nothing but proud.
Wonderful. That's good to hear. Kathy, what about Esther? What have you seen in Esther?
Same here. She's a completely different person when she's on campus than when she's here at home. I mean, I have seen her change. She went from this little thing to just soaring, with her friends. She's not like this at home. Trust me. She's completely different when she's at school. But it's a good thing. I'm very, very happy she's there. Hence the reason why my son is also going to Westmont. Because I have seen a tremendous change in her. And I think it has a lot to do with the support that Westmont provides for the students. Overall, helping them live on campus and helping them with support overall for the students. I think it's great at Westmont. I'm not saying that just because they go there. I've seen it, so it's great.
Esther, that's so true. And I, not Esther, but Kathy, when I do the events on campus, when we've hosted events on campus, I really want to stress to the parents, look, I know you see me as a representative of Westmont, so you think I have to say all these positive things. I experienced it like you just said. I experienced it firsthand. I experienced it as a prospective mom. I experienced it as a parent. And I can wholeheartedly do this event today, host it, do my job, do all of this because I have sampled it myself. And, I will get through this without tears because I don't want to embarrass my son, but we were just so thrilled when he chose Westmont. We started looking for colleges in his freshman and sophomore year. I remember that trip up to Santa Barbara specifically. We had just visited another large public school and then came to Westmont in the afternoon. And I just stood back from afar and watched him, and watched him process the decision. Didn't want to be a helicopter mom, but Mitchell, if you can unmute yourself, tell us a little bit about how my relationship with you and vice versa, how we journeyed together before you got to Westmont, and then what it was like when you left home and came to Westmont.
Well, visiting schools and stuff was definitely a process, because since my mom was in the marketing world and knew a bunch of schools and had given me so many options, that's where it kind of became difficult to choose, like, okay, what school am I wanting to check out, or what school to make not only her proud, because again, she has been in the school business for quite some time. And so I trusted her opinion. She said, why don't we check out Westmont? And that was kind of my last, well, not my last pick, but it definitely was one that it wasn't on my radar at all. And so I've been on to these big schools, and I remember going to Point Loma and going to UCLA and going to...
Let's not use names of other schools.
Okay.
Right, these are all great schools.
And Westmont was the last school that I went to. And within like the first 20 minutes of walking on, I'd seen the student relationship, even with me, like as not even a student there, they just the connection that I was able to already make, like within the first 20 minutes of walking on, smiling. And I looked at my mom and I was like, okay, this is pretty good. This is a good school. And then after the end of the trip, I remember driving back, and we were driving the coastline, and she just looked at me and said, like, so what did you think? I'm like, I think I found my pick. I think that's the school. And this was by my junior year of high school. And so I was excited to go here and everything. And it's been awesome. I mean, I haven't had a regret about it. Westmont was a great school, and I still enjoy it to this day. I'm almost there at least once or twice a month, just because it's a good school and it's fun to be there. And my mom's also there and everything, but she made sure that she didn't have any influence on me of like, you need to go here or anything like that. She was completely out of the picture. It was my own decision, which is what I loved. And it was the easiest pick. I was instantly like, Westmont's it for sure. And it's just, yeah, it was awesome. I can't say, I'm not saying this again because she's working there or anything either. Like it definitely was an experience on my own, and they didn't watch me over anything in my freshman, sophomore year. It was definitely challenged and stuff, but it's a good challenge to be on your own and independent. And that's where I think I found myself to grow and do a complete 180 of my personality and to be, I guess, more mature and grow up. And then that's where both my parents like, something's different about you every time you come home. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be home. I actually want to go back to school. So, and they soon recognize that as well. But I mean, you can't complain with Santa Barbara.
It really is. It's true. It's, I think probably the hardest part for me as a mom, once we sent him off, and he didn't know anyone at Westmont. I didn't know anyone at Westmont. I couldn't reach out and say, oh, hey, Professor so-and-so, keep a watching over no, I didn't know anyone myself. And yes, I've been in higher education for many years, but I didn't know anyone at Westmont. So, it was a little scary. We dropped him off, and Mitchell and I have always had a pretty tight relationship. So when he became more independent and would come home, he came home like maybe every 2 months, maybe 3 months, he would hop on the train and come down. But they became infrequent as he became more familiar with his setting. And it was hard for us to, like, when he was home, he couldn't wait to get back. And we thought, wow, should we be taking this personal? And he literally would say, Mom, it's like heaven. Have you seen Santa Barbara? And I thought, you're right. That's fair. That's fair. So there is a process where you have to just let go, and that's not easy to do, but you do. And I'll end with this story because I know, like I said, Mitchell's on a ton. I want to give him one more moment, and then I'm going to shift it to Jenny and Kathy and Tori and your sons and daughters. But with that transition, one thing that Mitchell touched on, and I'm going to let him come back to it, his dad and I, we would sit at the top of our stairs and listen him talk with his friends who were also coming back from their other colleges. And there was just such an articulation of how he would describe his faith and what he was learning that I did not see with others, and I adore his friend. They are amazing, great families. But I thought, what a Westmont difference. This is the difference. And Mitchell, why don't you share a little bit about that? Just what you saw with your friends, and then the friendships you made here that really replaced a lot of the friends back home, and then how we interacted with your Westmont friends.
I think what the biggest thing was what Westmont did, again, I touched on it a little bit, is the maturity level. And I think because I didn't know anybody at Westmont and going there independently, completely on my own, I had to step out of my comfort zone. And being back at home in Orange County, I had the best friend group I could ever imagine. Like those are my brothers. To this day, I will call them my brothers wholeheartedly. And to leave them, that broke my heart. So coming to Westmont was definitely like okay, how do I find another brotherhood? Before even coming to Westmont, it was within the first week, I found like a whole group of 15 guys. And to this day, we still keep in contact. And that I still look at them like, these are my brothers. These are my new boys. And it was definitely challenging, and it definitely was hard to come back home to have those conversations with my friends that were there back at home, and to hear their conversations about school and what they did, and then comparing it to my own lifestyle. It's like, that's not what I have or what I expected and stuff. And I could tell that they had a different sense for me, and they gave me more respect because of it, because they had seen that the maturity level of myself grew so much. And I wasn't the most mature person, I will say, when I first came to Westmont. And so definitely after the first year, those friendships kind of faded, obviously, just again with long distance and stuff, and connections, obviously kind of not seeing them as much as I would typically, but there was a change for sure. And I think that's just because the maturity level that I had excelled a little bit faster than they had. Even to this day, I would still say the same thing. But I love them dearly and everything, but I definitely noticed there was a shift in that. It's just because the guys that I had at Westmont, we challenged each other. We weren't just, comfortable sitting, having fun, going out, whatever it may be. We challenged each other to be a better person. And that was just because we truly cared for each other. And it was a brotherhood that we had established. And that's why to this day, they are my brothers. And I love that. And that was one challenging thing, but it was a good shift. It was a good change. And to this day, I'm very thankful for that. I do have to go. But thank you for letting me join the call. And if you have any questions, let her answer them for you.
Thank you, Mitchell. Say hello to your doctor staff and tell them thank you that they gave us 15 minutes. Bye. Love you too. Great. Wow. I'm going to say this last thing, and then I'm going to shift into moderator mode, and so the rest can share. And we've got questions coming in, and I just want to remind you, if you have a question, please use the Q&A button on the Zoom link, or you can email it to us. We're standing by looking for those questions, and those questions can be sent to admissions@westmont.edu. And so before I shift, just real quickly, what I noticed most, and Tori and Kathy and Jenny, I think you might see this too. Westmont does such a great job at helping these students become gentlemen and women. And I am so impressed with it. It's like, where did we send you to, what do they call to school to learn manners and appropriation of how to work with adults? Is just beautiful. And I noticed the difference. I notice how the professors teach these students, address an adult with yes ma'am, no sir, shake their hand, look them in the eye, and they're teaching them these skills as well because they're preparing them to go into the workforce. And this is how you engage appropriately with an adult or a person of authority or in leadership. And I thought, wow, I love that. That is another change that I saw in my son, was that appropriateness of engaging as a gentleman. So Jenny, you've got Matt, who is a graduate as well. Tell us a little bit about the change. And I love the photo that you two submitted. I think Matt's like 6 years old in that picture. But tell us what you saw in Matt's development and now what you're seeing in Rachel's development.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I mean, Westmont has, well, I have Matt who obviously graduated from Westmont. Then I had my other son, Connor, actually went in as a transfer student halfway through his junior year to Westmont. So they both had unique experiences. So he graduated from there as well, and now Rachel. And I think the biggest thing for me was the connections and the friendships that they have made. I know when Connor, I mean, when he started midway through his junior year, got on campus, and I think within a week he said, I have not met a person that isn't worth getting to know. So he just said everyone that reached out to him was just thoughtful and kind. And so I think they both, well, all three of them have just grown as people, but it's more the connections that they've made. They've just met like-minded, wonderful people. And I think that's the biggest comfort to me, is that the people that they've surrounded themselves with, the faculty down to, their roommates, their friends, it's just been a great environment to see them grow into young adults. And it's a hard transition to let go, because as a parent, you're the point person. That was, I think, the biggest challenge for me is, being in charge of everything. And you have to go through that, like, oh, I can't call and ask about every little thing. My kid has to do it, But they were in just a supportive, awesome environment to be able to do that. So with 3 kids there and not one negative experience. So it was been a great school for us.
Rachel, how has your relationship with your mom shifted or changed, or however you want to address it, since you started Westmont? And you just finished your first year, right?
I actually finished my second year.
Oh my God. How did this happen? This is too,
I don't know.
that's too fast. Too fast.
I'm just flew. I think that in terms of our relationship as mother and daughter, I think that we've always been really close. I've always told her everything and talked her ear off. But I think that going to college and coming back for breaks and things, it's really nice because it almost gives you more to talk about. It gives you a lot of experiences to unpack, a lot of advice to seek. And so I think that it's really nice, especially like one thing I remember just from going to college, it's been awesome, is like those car rides home of just like a lot of conversation, a lot of communication about what's been going on, the good, the bad, the stress of school and all of that, just coming back and knowing that you've relied on yourself for the time that you've been gone and you've matured and learned, but then coming back to have that person to bounce all of the experiences off of and to kind of ground you in who you are. I think that's been a really cool experience, both of us.
Great. Matt, you want to add anything there?
Yeah, Rachel, didn't mom call you one time to ask if you were brushing your teeth 2 times a day? Like,
Yeah.
making sure that, yeah, she still did call us a lot and make sure that we were like staying in line. And we did brush our teeth 2 times a day, so that was good. Yeah, I would say, honestly, I remember coming home for the first time after however long, a month or 2 months at Westmont, and just being so excited to share all of my experiences. And I remember feeling kind of overwhelmed, like, how do I even articulate this in a timely manner to just say like how many people I've met, how many amazing professors I've met, my experiences in the classroom in Santa Barbara. Like, there was just so much positivity to share. And I just remember being excited to share that with my parents, who kind of had been with me through my whole journey beforehand. I was pretty sad to leave at first, I'll be honest. I remember, yeah, Mom, you were pretty sad too. You cried. And then I think after like a week, I was just fully immersed in the Westmont experience. And yeah, the transition of just starting to do everything yourself, and you can, just go off campus and hang out and do whatever you want and eat your own meals. I did miss the home cooked meals. So that was something that was your spaghetti. Spaghetti.
That is a mother's tip to all moms online. Stock your refrigerators before your kids get home for breaks, because my goodness, they rate it. And I wasn't ready for that. I'm like, oh my gosh, our food bills had really dropped once Mitchell left. And boy, I didn't realize you'd come back with this ferocious appetite, but I think there's just something about knowing there's a fridge and I can do whatever's in there. So there's a tip for you to prepare for. We have a question that's come in, and I'd love for Addie and Esther, and maybe even Addie, you can take this one because you don't get to go home as frequently being out in Colorado. But a mom said that the best advice that they got, and she wants to know if this is true, is that you shouldn't let your freshmen come home the first 6 weeks of college starting, so that they kind of get grounded and get their find their way. Is that true? Is it not? What do you recommend, Addie, and then Esther?
I would agree with that wholeheartedly. My first year, I didn't go home until Thanksgiving, right?
3 months.
And I was fully in it. I think it's really important that you kind of dig your heels in like as quickly as you can, especially coming to Westmont and not knowing a soul. I wanted to come home a lot, but kind of pushing myself and gaining my own confidence throughout those 3 months, whatever it was. And during those times when other kids would go home during the weekends, like they had the luxury of like driving just a couple hours to go home, I was able to find those people around me that I could grow in community with. And that's such a taboo word, community, but it's so true. I found my people, and that was because, I don't know, I found my place at Westmont and I got to stay there. So yeah, I'd recommend that for sure.
Esther, what about you? You could go home pretty frequently, did you? Or did you not?
That is true. I could go home. It's just a 2-hour drive, but I still stayed at school. I don't really remember the first time I came home. I think it was like October, or probably, when did I come home? I don't remember. We went up. Oh, they came up to me because I was like, I don't want to go home. Like, I'm a little bit. Like, it's fun. Like, yeah, I miss the brothers. I miss the dogs. Yeah, I miss you, Mom. But like, I was like, I think I really like it here, and like, I don't want to go back home. She's like, okay, we'll come up to you. So I was like, okay. So then they came up for a couple of days, but I would totally agree with not coming home for a couple of weeks. I feel like just putting yourself out there and being vulnerable to, like, not only yourself, but to other people around you really builds like that community aspect, as well as just like finding yourself in like the real world, I guess. Cause like, to be honest, first year was a little rough for me. I am a little extroverted, but it was kind of hard just to find like a solid group of people. But just because I put myself out there a little bit more, I was able to find like my peeps and my homies. So that was a fun time.
Here's another question that's come in, and I'm gonna give this one to you, Tori, to answer. It says, what was the biggest thing you learned the first year your daughter went away to college?
That she could do it. Mm-hmm. That she had all the right tools. I think as a mom, you think, much like Jenny, I'm that kind of mom. I'm like, did you use the cleanser that I sent you? Did you brush your teeth? Did you give this to so-and-so? Did you talk to so-and-so? So I did that for probably too long. But what I realized is she could do it. She equipped herself with the tools to soar and to be confident and to meet the right people. And well, I don't think you can meet a wrong person in Westmont, to be honest, but she found her group. But I learned that, yeah, she could do it without me. And I think that's a hard lesson for a mom, because you want to feel like I'm needed. But it's not that she didn't need me, it's just she didn't need me as much. She could do it.
Oh, very good to hear. Kathy, I'm going to ask you this question, and Jenny, I'd love for you to also weigh in after Kathy. This is a question from that really, I'd love to hear your perspective. What have been ways that you've been able to connect with Westmont as a parent? Kathy, tell us a little bit about that. And then Jenny, you can follow.
For us, for me especially, I have a big household. Esther has 3 brothers, so who are younger. So for us, it's a little difficult to kind of connect sometimes, but I love that Westmont always is available, even for students. I know Esther has had to communicate a lot with the services, especially student services, or for me, especially now that my son is coming into Westmont, I'm always able to stay in touch with either the financial aid office, or if I know Especially for me, I have had to reach out to financial aid a few times through emails or phone calls, especially when Esther was coming in at the first time. In the beginning, I always felt like Westmont was available for me to be able to contact people and reach out and for them to get back to me. I always felt like I had the support I needed from Westmont to be able to answer my questions and get feedback right away.
Jenny?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I had had the same experience. If I've ever had a question about, you know, all the way from admissions up through, you know, even health issues with the kids, you know, when I've reached out to them, they've always been very accessible. I've gotten answers right away. Financial aid issues, you know, even like this year, Rachel's had to go to the health office a few times. I've had to recommend, and no problem getting in, no problem, you know, getting seen. So I just know she's taken care of. At Westmont's, you know, the resources are there and they're easy to get to.
I would, you know, add the same. I used to get so frustrated with Mitchell because I knew he was getting emails from various offices, but we wouldn't know about it till like late, you know, you missed this or you've got this fee, and we're like, what's this fee on your account for? Oh, don't worry about it. No, we are going to worry about it. So one recommendation is to tell your students to give you access to their account information so you can stay on top of it as well. I know they're trying to navigate through a lot and adjust, you know, with their school schedules and living with, you know, another 2 other persons. But they're not great on email, right? I mean, I know my kid was terrible on email. So that was one thing that I would have to, you know, when he would check in or text, it was like, is there anything I need to know? Can you forward your email if you got anything from the school? And if there was a question, I could easily reach out to that office and I would always get an answer within 24 hours, 48 tops. And again, that helped when I was considering being in this role, going, wow, you treated us with such great respect and you responded and cared for our son. I know that was tops for me. And I thought, of course I can represent Westmont in this role because I experienced that every year when he was a student here.
I would say,
Really gonna go
when I see my mom connect as a parent, she's big on social media. Not like a shameless plug here at Westmont College, you should follow. But my mom is very active on that, and I think that's been really cool. Like she'll send me posts from Westmont College all the time. Like this is so cool, and I love that. Like she'll send me things from like our chapels. She'll watch them on YouTube.
As if she's not there.
Right.
Did you see this? Are you seeing this? This is amazing.
But it's been cool to kind of watch her not have the experience, but also just kind of walk alongside me as a parent as well. That's been really cool.
And we watch Chapel on YouTube. I mean, you can be as connected as you want to be, and Westmont does a really good job of that. Facebook, Instagram, following the campus pastor. I sound like a real creep, but I'm really not. Yeah, it's just been fun because Westmont College does do a really good job of saying, hey, this is what's going on, or shout out to somebody, and you're like, I feel like we're there. So it's cool.
Rachel and Matt, did you ever feel like that was invasive for you if your mom did say, hey, I saw so-and-so was speaking at chapel, how was that? And you can admit if you said, I didn't go to chapel that day, Mom, or did you tell the truth or not?
Right.
We went to chapel every day.
Oh,
I don't know, Mom, did you do a lot of that? I don't know if you're
no, I've definitely checked your emails and said, why didn't you respond to this, and why is there this weird charge on your bill? Two-part that last week.
Oops, yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
More I think in my experience, more with emails, and definitely things I've gotten a text a lot, forward that to me. I think that as the years have gone on, it's gotten a little bit less, but I think that that's been a great help as reminders to check my email stuff, but not as much with social media, I wouldn't say.
All right, here's another question that's come in, and it says, what are the good ways that you found as moms to stay in touch with your son or daughter while still allowing them to enjoy their independence? Kathy, you want to take that one, start us off with that?
For me, it's so hard me and Esther, I I don't know how to explain it, but we are very close, and we have been very close for a long time. So me being able to let go was very hard. So to stay in touch was also hard because I work, and she started working right away. She had classes, and so we had to figure out our schedule. And even for calling, sometimes I would text her. I'm like, "Where are you at?" And she's like, "I'm in class right now." And then she would try to reach back to me, and I would be at work. I'm like, "Hey, I'm with the doctor right now. I can get to you." But so we would like have to navigate through our schedules, and it got a little hectic at the beginning. So I had to reach out for help. My sister-in-law also attended Westmont about 12 years ago? A while back ago. So I'm like, what do I do? I don't want to lose touch with her. And I'm like, so she's like, just find a way to get like a little routine. So at the end of the day, we ended up always texting, and I'm big on FaceTime. Addie knows this. Sometimes they're together. I'm like, "Hi, Addie." So I'm always like FaceTiming her, and I think it's important to keep communication, but still don't overwhelm. So I always would reach out to her. "Hey, are you available? Can you talk for a bit?" And she's also big on when she needs help or she needs advice, she will call me. And I know that on those we've had little desperate moments where I have to literally step out of my office because I know it's one of those little cries of help that she will call me like, "I need to talk to you right now." Okay, I'm like, "Okay, I'll be back, guys. Give me a few minutes." And we are able to still stay connected through everything.
That's great. Tori, we have a question come in, and maybe you can just take a little bit off of what Kathy just said too. You mentioned the doctor. Addie needed to see a doctor, I think, once. And
I think that was Rachel.
Was it Rachel?
Yeah, yeah. Addie stays healthy so far.
Okay. Well, Jenny, I'm going to come back to you on that question about the doctor's access because we have a question here. But Tori, same thing, same question to you that Kathy just answered.
So just fax each other.
Yeah, just faxing.
Just page each other.
The first year I sent her a lot of care packages, and I learned her friends' names or her suite mates and sent her like a huge box and made her pass out things. But then also sent her things like, yeah, Rachel, I think you got one.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
That was sweet.
But anyway, I also sent her things that she could do with friends. So like,
such a great That's a great idea.
We sent her like kites and frisbees and things she could do socially with other, people at the beach, or puzzles, or we sent her pie in the face game at Thanksgiving. So just something that she could interact with other people, share her thing, but somehow I still felt connected. And then she's kind of a producer. She takes her phone everywhere and gives me the behind the scenes. So I really don't feel like I missed a beat. She films everything and then will throw me a Snapchat and tells me all about it. We never really set up a time to talk. We started that, but then I just let her call when she needed to call.
Yeah, that's great. Great. Jenny, can you add anything to that? And then tell us a little bit about the doctor's access when you said staying in touch with Westmont. What was that like for you?
Well, first I should probably thank Tori for Rachel's only gift package I ever received because I never sent her one. Sorry, Rachel.
Lots of love.
Matt, did you ever get one from me? Maybe one?
No, you did give me one. You sent me a bunch of lollipops.
Okay, I'm not that bad.
Good mom. You're a good mom.
You're a very good mom. You've raised two amazing humans. That's a good thing.
Without gifts, no. Yeah, no, I mean, it's funny. I don't know that Matt ever needed to utilize the health office, but Rachel said a couple just weird rash, like your ear, she got an ear piercing and it did not heal. So just random things. But whenever she called me with it, I'm like, I'm not there, go the health office. So I think she went 3 times this year, and it was always really easy. And 5, oh no.
Oh,
You know, they were very responsive and it was easy, and I, you know, wasn't worried about it. So she got antibiotics, and so yeah, we didn't use it, like I said, with Matt, but Rachel utilized it, and I'm sure we'll see next year. Hopefully no more weird ailments.
And her ear is better.
It is.
What?
Her ear is better.
Okay, good.
We did utilize it too. When Mitchell was a freshman, he had some reoccurring cyst that just appeared on his back, and you know, he couldn't just come down easily and have the doctor see it. So I'd say, just go. And he was afraid, you know, too. Like, Mom, I don't know what this is. And he'd take a picture and show me. And of course, my heart would be like, oh, dear Lord, that does not look good. I didn't scare him. But I thought, just go to your health center, you know, go to your health center. And sure enough, I mean, they too were like, you know what, go see this doctor and da-da-da. So we utilized it quite a bit as freshman year. And I think it takes a while too for the students to develop kind of their immune systems as well when they're living with, you know, a lot of different people who come from different backgrounds and have different eating habits and cleanliness habits, and they all have to adjust to that. And I think that's their body too, just responding in ways to go, okay, all right, I'm gonna pick this up or that up. And that goes in perfectly in line with the question we just got. And maybe students, you can answer this. Will you be comfy? Will my student be comfy in the dorm? Is there laundry on site? Good luck with that. And I mean that from a parent's perspective, like the clothes come home and I'm like, good Lord, did you want it? But what's that like? Just adjusting, Esther, Addie, Rachel? What's it like adjusting? Matt, you too? And were you comfortable in your residence hall? Did you use the laundry on site? What is the laundry on site like? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I had the worst luck when it came to laundry. I love, like, my favorite chore in the house is like to do my laundry, because I love having like nice clean clothes and like it's smelling good. But I would do laundry like at least once every 2 weeks. So I would use 2 weeks of clothes, wash it, and then keep going. But I don't know why, for some reason, the dryers always decided to not work, and they never dried my clothes. So if you ever came into my room, you'd see like a pair of socks hanging on the windowsill, or all my clothes on the bed, or all my clothes hanging up. And at one point I had to go to like one of my friend's rooms and start using her fan because my clothes wouldn't dry. So I was like, this is awesome. And one night I had to sleep on all my wet clothes. So I mean, I love doing laundry, but because of that, like that happened too many times, I'm traumatized. I still do my laundry, but it's just like, those dryers really had it out for me. I mean, it's fine, but I forgive them. But adjusting to like social life, it was fine. I guess like what you had said, Irene, earlier about Mitchell coming home and raiding your fridge, I do that sometimes. Or like I'll call my mom.
Ice cream, have ice cream on backup on the fridge.
Yeah, I'm like, Mom, where's the ice cream? Where's the cucumbers? Like, I need them now. And she was like, go pick them up. And I'm like, okay. Or like, I'll call her and be like, Mom, I need help picking a watermelon. I need help. I need help. And she's like, have you slapped it yet? And I'm like, I slapped it, Mom. She's like, how did it sound? And I'm like, I don't know, Mom. It sounds like me slapping a watermelon. I guess that was kind of hard to adjust to, like picking my produce and whatnot. But I think I did pretty good so far. Yeah.
The rest of you practice healthy habits, you know, cleanliness. What's that like, living maybe with a messy roommate? What does that look like?
Let me dig in there really quickly. When she was gonna go to Westmont, that was her nightmare. Mom, what if I get someone that's not gonna be clean? They're gonna be like my brothers. Oh, Mom, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna do this? I'm like, Esther, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be okay. Don't worry. You're gonna have to adjust. It's something about adjusting to a new place. So I told her, Esther, you have to do what you can to be able to stay yourself, and at the same time give the person that you're gonna be with room to grow. So when it came to that, that was one of her little kind of nightmare moments where she would go, oh my God, Mom, what am I gonna do? She would tell me all the time, what am I gonna do if the other person is not as clean as I am? And I'm like, Esther, I think that's the least of your problems right now.
Yeah, I was a little worried at first just because I am surrounded by all my brothers and guys are not the cleanest. I don't know what it is. Like,
Is that true?
I don't. Okay, well, my brothers are not the cleanest. Like, they can't pick a sock and put it in the laundry basket. I don't know what it is. I tried. I really did.
100%.
Yeah. At the end, I think what helped me a lot was my RA. First year, she was super, super down to earth, and she really helped me stepping outside of my comfort zone. Especially just because she really dug into each one of us and tried to find things that each one of us liked. And I think Res Life and my RA in general really helped me in that time of growth and that time of separation from my family and my mom especially. So I would say that my RA helped me a ton during that, and I would totally recommend every person to try and get to know them as much as they can.
That's great, because that kind of answers a question that said, who helped you with homesickness? Addie, you want to give us I know I'm watching the time carefully and I want to respect everybody's on. So give us a 30-second response to who helped you with homesickness.
Okay, great. Before I came to college, I was incredibly introverted, had to kind of force myself out of that as much as humanly possible. Kind of going off what Esther said, meeting the people in your section was really cool, going to section events. There's lounges in every dorm, which is a good common area for everyone. Watch TV, bake if you want. So yeah, just kind of pushing yourself. We've said that a lot, but it's really, really true. So
someone had a question that I'm going to answer quickly here. It says, is visiting the doctor on campus included in tuition, or are there additional costs? There are no costs. Everybody comes in with healthcare or equivalents to that, and the college offers it if someone doesn't have it. But there was not a fee. My son could go and visit and get recommendation, and then the fees came when he went to see a doctor outside, of the college, obviously, because of whatever your insurance plans are. But that's the answer to that one. How about this, parents? What's the best place to stay when visiting? What do you recommend? Tori, especially you coming from Colorado.
We actually found a good Airbnb. It was a lady who lived near Westmont, and she actually let us ship some of her packages to there upon moving in, which was amazing. And then I know we have it on the Westmont Parents website, I believe, on Westmont EDU. There's a Westmont Parents, and they've listed a whole bunch of Airbnbs that some are alumni to Westmont. A lot of area hotels give discounts as well. We've stayed everywhere from Carpinteria to locally. We don't get to come out as often as we'd like. We'd like to move in with Addie, truthfully, but since that's not possible. But yeah, we've had the best luck with Airbnbs, and you'd be surprised how many people loved to have Westmont Parents there. Yeah. They were really accommodating, I should say, because we shipped 6 boxes ahead, and she let us keep them there until we got there. So
great idea.
Yeah.
And I do want to let the moms know that there are Westmont discounts at a list of the hotels. So if you just go to our website and you use the search engine and say hotels, it should pop up Westmont hotels, and those all provide, they also all provide a discount, which is great. Yeah. Okay, here's another question that's come in. And Jenny, we'll start with you. Is there anything you wish you would have done differently as a parent during Matt's and Rachel's first year?
Yes, definitely. I think I coddled my kids to a fault. And I think I would have pushed them earlier to take control, to take over. With even, it's fine to remind about emails, but maybe say you respond to it or you make that call. And a lot of times I would, for too long, I would make the call, or, even just at home, make appointments. And so, yeah, I think that, it's so hard to cut those ties and relinquish the control, but I think sooner the better, because it's going to have to happen. So because I have 4 kids, and with all 4 of them, I wish I had done that sooner.
Yeah. Kathy, Tori, another quick answer to that. What would you have done differently in their first year?
I think it's kind of like the same, going based on what Tori said. With what Jenny said, is it's hard for us as parents to be able to let go and give them the freedom and the liberty to take over. And I think it's so important. I mean, not to boast or anything, but I love her growth. I'm completely in awe of how much she has grown at Westmont, and I think the community and the people that she has met, Addie included, like these kids, I love all her friends. We get to talk to them. When I go up there, I get to talk to these girls, and just the amount of growth they're having. And I tell Esther, don't limit yourself, always be open, because you never know how this experience at the end of the day, when they grow up and become, and they go out in the world, how this is gonna impact other people. So it was hard for me, truly, truly hard to be able to completely let go and give her that kind of authority and just release her and say, hey, you have to call, you have to take care of everything now. And at one point I told her, Esther, you're 18. I'm sorry, you need to call, you need to figure it out. So, but it was hard.
You know, those 18-year-olds. Tori.
I just asked Addie secretly, like, should I have done something differently? I think Westmont allowed me to step back. I'm not only a helicopter mom, I think I'm a lawnmower mom. I like go right before her and I take out the weeds and make sure everything looks great and she doesn't experience any hardship. And so I'm worse than a helicopter mom. With that being said, Westmont reminded me a lot of her kindergarten teacher that I knew the day I was dropping her off at kindergarten, Addie wouldn't leave my side, and I was sure that there were going to be tears. And yet her kindergarten teacher took her hand and said, you guys are okay as parents. You can leave now. And she was fantastic. And after orientation at Westmont, I cannot explain it, but it was just that same situation where Westmont took my hand and Addie's hand, but in separate directions, and said, you're going to be okay. And she was, you know. So I think Westmont equipped me as a mom to let go a little faster than I probably normally would have, but in a good way, in a healthy way. So yeah, it gave me the confidence to let go, which was great.
Good. Awesome. Here's a question that maybe Matt, you can help as a counselor too, and if a mom wants to chime in, and again, I'm watching the time here, we're going to wrap this up very shortly. Who do I reach out to if I have questions after my student starts in the fall? Matt, what do you recommend? Because you establish really, as an admissions counselor, you establish really close relationships with your students that are coming, and you often interact very closely with the parents. What does that transition look like? What do you recommend?
Right, yeah, well, I can start with the fact that I'm happy to be a resource for any of my students on the call from my territories, and I know the other admissions counselors. We've built these strong relationships with their students and their families, so I get questions all the time from parents after the students start, and we're happy to maintain that connection and kind of provide insight as best as we can. But they do have an incredible support system outside of the admissions office as well, so Res Life is a great place to start. The RDs in every residence hall, that's their job to be there for the students and their families, and, you know, answer questions and just be mentors and be resources. So that's a great place to start, I would say. I know Rachel's RD is like incredible and a great relationship builder and loves just talking to people and helping people out. So, and then RAs too, that's kind of their job as well. They're current students who, Rachel's an RA as well, that manage a section of students. So parents can always get in touch with their students' RAs and just kind of, you know, get insight from them as well. But Res Life.
When will they meet their RAs and RDs? Tell the parents when they have that moment to meet them. When does that happen?
I can kind of answer that question. Yeah, I was an RA for my sophomore year in Emerson, and I'm actually doing it again next year in Emerson as well. So a lot of Emerson pride. But actually, we end up, the way they do it is the freshmen come in a little bit earlier than the rest of the students for their orientation, and the RAs meet them the very first day they get on campus. We meet them. I'm pretty sure that very night is the night that like the first night they move into their dorms. We have a meeting, and Emerson puts on a little party. I'm not exactly sure how all the other dorms do it, but yeah, we do like a little party thing, and we meet them all as our individual sections. And I know for myself that first part of school, like having just someone to talk to in that sense for me when I was a freshman was really, really huge. And yeah, right away you're connected with a person the second you step on campus.
Do you exchange phone numbers even with parents? Would you go that far?
With parents, we don't do it as much with parents. We do it with the students. And then we tell the students that if their parent wants to get in contact. I've had parents contact me for different things. I had a parent who worked with me to throw a surprise party for his kid. And so that was awesome. So like those kinds of things with parents are really, really amazing. But yeah, so I think that RA, and especially RDs too, like that relationship between them is built very early on in the process and hopefully continue throughout the year.
Great advice. Here's a great question. We live on the East Coast. What are some parent must attend events that they should plan for? Tori, you want to answer that again from out of state?
Let's see. Parents Weekend. The very first freshman year, they have a separate Parents Weekend. That's amazing. And Spring Sing. Okay. Absolutely.
Good.
So
I agree 100%. That very first Parents Weekend, I think, was the most important for us. We actually ended up not coming up of the sophomore, junior, or senior. Right. I remember Mitchell saying, okay, why are you guys not here? We thought, well, did you want us to be there? So a little bit of a parental fail on our side. But the first one, we were so like assured, like, this is great, you're good, you feel more comfortable, you're good. So I think the very first one was really, really like, put it on your calendar. It's usually the third weekend of October. So, look for flights now even, and praying all this COVID is past, and we're going to practice social distancing during that first parent weekend. But that would be one that I recommend too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. I'm looking at the time, and I know we're about 3 minutes away from 11:30. So I want to do two things. One, I want to just thank everybody who is still online, and we're going to stay online answering questions as long as you want to participate. But for those who need to leave, I want to just say thank you so much. We hope this has been very helpful, insightful. We're moms sharing our experiences, and as a token of appreciation and a happy Mother's Day gift, you are going to get a lovely t-shirt. We had them just specially made, and you're going to get that in the mail very soon. Want to thank you for being a Westmonter, and want to welcome you to the Westmont family. If I can be of any help to you as well, my email is ineller@westmont.edu. I'm happy to find answers for you, even once your son or daughter does arrive here. And if I don't have the answer, I know exactly who to shoot it to, and then to hold that person accountable to getting back to you. So it's been an absolute pleasure to have you. We're going to stay online here. If Jenny and Kathy, are you all, give me a thumbs up if you can stay a little bit longer to answer some questions, as I have some here in my hand. Great. But those of you who need to leave, feel free to go ahead and sign off. But know that we are praying for you and for your son or daughter for this transition. Trust God. He has them. He's got a purpose. This is not a coincidence that they're coming to Westmont, and He's going to put people in their path who are going to strengthen them and walk with them. I saw it, I experienced it firsthand, and I'm still blessed to this day to see those individuals in my son's life. So, all right, are we ready to answer some more questions? Let's do it.
Bring it.
This is a great one too. One thing, but this is for the moms. What is the one thing that you made your son or daughter bring to their dorm that ended up being useless?
Great question.
So maybe moms, you answer that, and then I want to hear from Esther, Addie, and Rachel, and Matt. Like, yeah, my mom made me bring this, and it was the biggest. I never used it. Well, what is that?
Laundry detergent.
Okay, but I have to do, I'm not shamelessly plugging this company, but there's a new company I found that's called Green Sheets, and it's laundry detergent that comes in sheets.
Okay.
You put it in, and it's much easier than detergent. But anyway, what did I give you? There's got to be something. I think she packed too many clothes. Okay, that's not the question. Oh, come on.
Kathy, anything that made her take, and Esther, that was absolutely useless?
We have a few things, but I'll let Esther take that one.
My mom, okay. Like we've said, I only have 3 brothers, so I'm the only other girl in the house. I'm not your typical like wear pink, glitter stars, whatever. I'm a little like, I don't know how to say it. I'm not really girly. So I wear like athletic clothing or like all black. I feel like I'm going to a funeral every day. And my mom decided to go ahead and have the liberty to buy me a flat iron because she's like, you're gonna use it. Not once have I used it. I brought it home. I didn't like, I packed it, but I forgot that I took it out in attempts to use it, but I had never have. So it's still in storage. And I brought the box home. And she's like, have you used this? And I was like, no. She's like, where is it? It's empty. And I was like, I put it in storage. She's like, how come you don't use it? And I was like, I don't know, Mom. I don't need it. And she even packed me like a little makeup bag. I barely use it. And she's like, you just have to look good, Esther. And I'm like, okay.
I'm like, you have to look presentable, Esther. When you go to meetings, like, don't you put a little bit of something on? She's like, no, Mom, there's no need. So, yeah, the flat iron.
Daddy, what do you want to add?
God, I feel like I went with Rachel to unpack her a month ago, and I think half the stuff that was in her dorm room was unnecessary. I think too many clothes, too many shoes. Gosh, you never used your tea kettle, I don't think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Twice.
Yeah.
Twice? Yeah, just reduce the amount of stuff. You don't need everything. You just a small amount of makeup, a small amount of clothes, just not every item in your closet.
I would say I would say one more thing that I thought was really funny that I never utilized was we bought like this little kind of like a mirror that you put like on a desk, and it was Bluetooth. So it would like play music, and I don't think I used the Bluetooth aspect of it once. So that was just a random one. It was a cool thing, but yeah, it's kind of random.
We set Mitchell with a printer so that he could print his own papers, right, in his dorm room. And we coordinated with the other parents, his other roommates, and we said, hey, we'll bring the printer, and they never used it. They because they had printers in the library, they had printers in the student center, so never used it. It was a big old clunky thing. It was such a waste. It was such a wasted purchase. But that's one thing I do recommend as you discover who your roommates are, that you coordinate with the parents and find out, like there were 3 things. One bought a fan, a really good fan. One brought a refrigerator for the room, and then we brought the printer. He was in a triple. So that was one thing. And our piece ended up being the most useless piece. On the flip side, and Matt, we want to hear from a guy on this one. What was the essential that you were sent with, or you weren't sent with, that you needed?
A mini fridge is nice to have snacks. And I think that might be my only answer. I mean, I kind of knew all the other essential things. I didn't need much, like from a guy's perspective. I had some shirts and my snacks, and then, clothes, necessary, toothbrush, that type of stuff. But I didn't need too much. I think maybe the one thing that I purchased myself that wasn't essential is I was on Amazon one day and I saw a giant inflatable swan for $25. And I bought it so that I could take it in the ocean with my friends, which we did, and it was really fun. But my roommate was kind of shocked when he walked in our room and there was a huge swan like filling up the entire room. So that's all I got.
I'll speak on behalf of Mitchell, a guy, again, in his room. And I would say, I wanted to decorate that room. I wanted to, nope. They wanted minimalist approach, but they did ask for dark curtains because they wanted to sleep in on the weekends. And so we found these dark curtains at, I think it was Bed Bath & Beyond. And they just thought that I scored big mom points for finding a dark curtain that was easy to hang up.
Yeah.
So that's what they, and I would echo what Mitchell would echo what Matt said, that refrigerator every year, that was like the item to have. And I'm seeing the others nod their heads, right? And those are pretty inexpensive. You can find them, I think I remember them like being $90 at Costco, and they would rotate who brought it home over the summer, if they were in a room together. So there you go. This is a question for Rachel. How many students are assigned to each RA?
Yeah, so in the dorm that I lived in, it was a little bit unique. I think one of the sections had as little as 12 girls, but my section had 26. And so I think that there's a range anywhere from, it's usually within the ballpark of around 20 to 30. But there's some exceptions to that rule. Obviously mine was a little bit larger and the other hall was a little bit smaller, but yeah, anywhere from that range is usually what it is.
Okay. I'm going to answer this question. It says, can siblings attend events? Absolutely. We welcome siblings. We want them to. It's a fun campus. They don't have to sit in on all those, boring parents activities and exchanges. So we try to find ways to keep them entertained. So yes, they are more than welcome. Matt, can you answer this question? It says, this is a family that lives very, very nearby. And it says, how can I encourage my kid to stay on campus if he wants to leave campus?
I would say probably just pointing out how much there is to do on campus. I think there's a lot at students' disposal to just get involved in clubs. And like some of my best memories were just hanging out on campus. And I didn't really expect that coming in. I thought I would be off campus a lot, in Santa Barbara at the beach. And I did that definitely. But yeah, some of my funnest, best memories were just hanging out on campus. Whether that was in one of like the formal club opportunities or just enjoying the nature, playing Frisbee, playing spike ball on campus. Like there's so much to do constantly. So I guess pointing out the fact that we have we have an entire activities council that they just put on fun events that happen on campus. We'll have like movie nights, have a huge projector on the lawn and show movies, a lot of silly things like that. So there's so much to do on campus that are worth staying for. That's probably, I think that would be my best advice, is just looking into and being willing to say yes to those things too. We have this thing called cupcakes and clubs, is that right? Where basically in the beginning, when you're a student here, you can go out on Kerwood Lawn and there's a bunch of tables set out with cupcakes, so it's fun. And you get to learn about all the different clubs, and you can just write your name and email. And usually people say yes to like way too many things, but it shows that there's a lot of fun things to do on campus.
Can they bring their surfboards?
Yes, they can. There are surfboard racks, and you walk around campus and see wetsuits hanging from the residence hall racks. So yeah, people like to surf here.
Bikes, surfboards,
boards, sandboards, spike ball, hammocks.
Yeah, good advice. We're gonna make this our last question. And again, just so thankful for your generous time, moms. Did you guys give your kids allowance? Is that recommended? Tips? I'll start. We did. And it wasn't a lot. It was, somewhere like, $50 a month. You don't have to say an amount, but we wanted him to eat the food in the dining commons. That's what we were paying for. So we're like, no, you find, it doesn't look appetizing, have a bowl of cereal.
Right.
So, and then we said, if you need more, you should look at getting a job, a little job. We think you can handle it. He had a job, when he was in high school, working for a fast food place. So we said, there's a shuttle that can take you around. You can always dial a ride, to get to a place that you need to. So we kind of split that responsibility on him, and also we helped.
Yeah.
What
I would piggyback on you. I think the Westmont shuttle is a blessing, such a blessing. It will take them almost anywhere, and for free. Dial a ride as well. So that's all free. The DC, the Dining Commons is free. So not a lot of extra money is,
but yeah.
yeah, right, yeah, yeah, that's true. A big bill. Eat up. But anyway, but outside activities, I think you maybe went to the movies a couple of times. But what I'm saying is they don't need a whole lot of extra money. The beach is free.
That's right.
Hammocking is free. Spike ball is free.
Kathy?
Yeah, no, we at the beginning we started transferring money and we're like, well, you're not using the money. Why is it in the account?
To be fair, I was saving it up to buy something. No, saving up is a good idea for me.
Like, why is your money still there, child? We're giving you money. We were just like surprised the money was there. So really, I think they have a lot of what they need on campus, that there's no really extra big need for you to give them a lot of extra money. Like going back on the whole transportation, I love it that they were able to go to the store. I would call her and she's like, oh, I'm going to this weekend to go buy some groceries after church. They would take them to church. That's another thing that worried me at the beginning, because we church for us is foundation. So we would attend church all the time together. So I wanted to make sure she was able to get to church on the weekends. So I would be a little worried. I'm like, how are you going to get to church? She's like, no, mom, they take us to church. So I was very at ease with that she was able to get not only to church, but from one place to another without the need to be calling, just for that service to be available around them. It's a great service.
Absolutely. Very, very good to point out. So glad. And, we would also, put money in his account if somebody was driving him around, just to say, hey, give the student, this $15 or $25 to thank them for gas, for spending the gas, the money. So just things like that. We have, and I hope, Matt, you've been able to maybe do some live chats there with questions as well. But we hopefully have answered your questions. We've gone over by almost 15 minutes, and I want to again respect everybody's time, especially our panelists' time. So we're going to go ahead and conclude this special Mother's Day session. Again, what a joy it has been for me to host it. And we are going to do this again. This is definitely something we want to continue. Tori, Kathy, Jenny, thank you for the gift of your time. Thank you for sharing your stories. You have amazing, amazing sons and daughters, and you've done an exceptional job. I get to be the beneficiary on this end of knowing them and establishing even a relationship with them. So thank you so much. Any last minute words any of you want to say before we sign off?
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. Yeah, we're Westmont proud, for sure.
Yeah.
I wish I had gone.
Me too. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. Happy Mother's Day. Look for your t-shirt.
Okay. Bye. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.